Ayy, roll up my back, wouldn't let me get high. Keep this money by my side, I had to sacrifice.
Immanuel Quickley has quickly became a fan favorite in New York and is starting to turn some heads around the league. Immanuel quote-unquote Big Balls Quickley is looking as if he is the biggest steal of the 2021 NBA draft. Before the season started, I kind of figured there would be a player that kind of slid late in the draft and would become a sleeper because of the whole coronavirus situation. And it's looking like that man is Immanuel Quickley. The recent rise of Immanuel Quickley is shocking to many, and what is truly inspiring is his story. His development at Kentucky was unreal, which is turning out to be one of the greatest success stories of the John Calipari era at Kentucky. Now, Quickley struggled in his first freshman season, where he had only started for a total of 7 games in his first year at Kentucky. But he could have pouted and given up, but he used this as motivation to rise up and conquer his challenges, and would go on to become the 2020 SEC Player of the Year. Just watching this man, you can tell that he has the heart and desire to be the best and is motivated to keep on getting better. Now, before we get on into this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you enjoyed my content. Also, be sure to check out my Twitter. It's going to be the first link in the description below. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the video. Immanuel Quickley grew up in Bel Air, Maryland, and fell in love with the game at a very young age. However, his father did not agree with his dream and was always against his son playing. His father, Marcellus, is a devout member of the church and has always looked at basketball as kind of a distraction from the path of salvation. His mother spoke in an interview and said all his dad wants is to know that he's doing the right thing, and all Immanuel wants is to know his dad is proud of him. I think that's something a lot of kids can relate to growing up, and despite Quickley's father, his love for the game was just too much. Whenever he had free time, he had a basketball in his hands and was putting in the work. It was clear the man was an absolute problem on the court, and when he got to high school, his skills and patience they'd become tested. He's playing in a very tough league throughout his high school career. Now, despite this, the man would go on to average a solid 17 points a game while also contributing nearly 4 rebounds and 3 assists a night. An interview from John Calipari proves that this area of hoops was so tough, saying, "What you find in those kids is that you have to fight for whatever you want. Nothing is given to you, not with those kids down in Baltimore. If you don't do the right stuff, you're not making it in that town. More than any other place, there are no frauds." This statement right here just proves that Quickley has always had that killer mentality. Mr. Big Balls was a 5-star recruit and a McDonald's All-American before heading to Kentucky. The man had high expectations when joining Kentucky, but his freshman year did not go as expected. As I said before in the video, he only started in 7 games where he would only average about 5 points a game while shooting a mediocre 35% from 3. Quickley admitted himself that during that season he kind of lost track of the grind and wasn't focused on the right things, was partying too much, and was hanging out with the wrong group of guys, wrong crowd, right? Once he got his focus back, he started grinding and was trying to make up for lost time. The work he put in the offseason showed up on the court. He went from averaging just a couple buckets a game all the way to a solid 16 points a game. And keep in mind, his shooting went from 35% from 3 all the way up to 42%. And the best thing about all this is that his father was actually watching his games and witnessing him play. In an article written by The Athletic, it says that his father had been on the phone with his grandfather saying, "Immanuel about to ice him here. He's about to take him home. Easy cake, easy cake." You could imagine just how much this meant to Quickley. After a lifetime of never really having his father's support and then seeing that video, you could just imagine how emotional Quickley was after seeing all that. He finally made his dad proud and proved to him that he could focus on basketball while staying on the right path. After hanging out with the wrong group and partying all the time in his freshman year, his dad was able to see that basketball was able to put his son back on the right path. Now, if you're a Knicks fan, you should be stoked. John Calipari said it best this year about the newly beloved point guard of New York. Just before the draft, he would go on to say, "Immanuel Quickley was the player of the year in our league. He's right up there with the hardest workers, spending the most time in the gym, most committed player that I've ever seen. You better give him a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th look before you pass on him because he's another stud." Kentucky's coach knew that his young player was the real deal even before the draft, and boy was he right. So far throughout the NBA season, I know it's still pretty early, but Quickley's looking like one of the better players of the NBA draft class. Throughout the month of January, he's been putting up crazy numbers, and I think he was drafted in the 25th spot. Knicks fans, please take this W. It's been way too long since the Knicks have had an all-star caliber player, and if Quickley keeps this up, it looks like he could one day for sure fit that role. The last all-star guard to make the all-star game for the New York Knicks was Allen Houston back in 2000, and the actual point guard that made the all-star game, their last one, was Mark Jackson in 1989. So safe to say New York has been starved of a fairly good point guard. Never really had it, and Quickley, you got a chance. New York, your organization, please do not mess this up. I think that his story is pretty crazy. You know, his dad doubted him. He didn't want him to play basketball, and look where he's at. He's in the NBA. And with that being said, let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and make sure to check out my other videos. Have a great day, and as always, see you guys next time.